Hello, YouTubers. Thank you for joining my channel. My name is Ilona Umokoro, and on my channel, we talk about all things notary signing agent here in the state of North Carolina. So today, we're bringing you another interview with a very seasoned notary signing agent, and I would like to introduce you all now to Miss Antoinette Dickens. Antoinette, please introduce yourself to everyone and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I certainly will. Thank you. As Alona said, my name is Antoinette Dickens, and I am the owner and sole proprietor of Contract Legal Notary Signing Service, and I'm located here in North Carolina in the Raleigh-Roseville area. And I'm not sure about all that season stuff. I've been doing this since last year, maybe August, September of last year. But I've been kind of going at it ever since then, been fairly busy. So I've been enjoying it. I do have to say that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today. So we'd like to ask you, for any notary signing agents who may be new or in the research phases of this industry, what are some tips and suggestions that you would offer?
Oh my goodness. I think the best thing that ever happened to me, like I inquired about becoming a notary signing agent during a couple of closings that I had personally. And the last individual that I spoke to gave me a wealth of information, and she actually agreed to become my mentor. So that is like one of the first things that I would so strongly suggest is one, doing your research about what exactly involves being a notary signing agent, like what are the parameters for that. And then once you learn exactly what a notary signing agent does, then try to secure a mentor. Definitely go through an official training program, whether it's through the NNA, and there's some other really good ones. It's Notary to Pro, I believe, is another one that a lot of notary signing agents go through. So ensuring that you have official training and a mentor is going to be instrumental in one, you being successful, and two, minimizing any type of demerits or anything you may get for incorrect work that you may submit. Because learning those documents and knowing like your notary laws are crucial to this field.
Oh, yeah.
Having that attention to detail. These are not documents that you can just gloss over.
Right.
You'll get familiar with them the more you do them, but still each time requires that same attention to detail. You might be able to move quicker because you know what to look for and things of that nature, but that does not minimize at all the attention to detail that each package should be given there. There's something else that I did wish that my mentor had told me about was actually setting up my business. And I did inquire as to how she had set hers up. And basically, I'm going to assume that it's like a sole proprietorship. She didn't get like a tax ID number. She's using her social. And I knew that I did not want to do that. So I researched information to see what I need to do as a sole proprietorship as opposed to becoming an LLC. And I have to say that this year I'm going to transition to the LLC just for protection of my personal assets from the company assets. That's the biggest thing. Tax-wise is all the same when it's only one individual. But again, for liability purposes,
Right.
I only want them to have access to my business, not my personal assets there. So that's another thing from there. And what I have found out in the interim is that every community college has a small business center. And I do believe that that is a resource that is so overlooked and underutilized. The counseling is free.
Wow.
Let me say that again. The counseling is free.
And we're in the state of North Carolina. And so NSAs in North Carolina can get this type of resource free.
Free at their local community college. colleges. So there are 58 community colleges in our state. And each of those has a small business center with people who have the expertise. Like I've done some training just this week alone on marketing. They have tax seminars. They have individuals that you can actually speak to on a one-on-one basis as to like what are the pros and cons of setting up a sole proprietorship versus an LLC or S corporation. I mean, you get this information. Did I say it was free?
You said
Free.
it cost, I think you said $0. It's free.
$0 gratis. Zilch, zero. So that is a wonderful, wonderful resource that's local that, you know, new signing agents should definitely look into, because that's going to be also key into the success of the business, is the operation of that. And if you're like me, you didn't have a whole lot of background in that. And so I needed that type of assistance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. You know, and one thing that I did learn in the state of North Carolina anyway with LLCs is that whenever you set it up, the next April, you have to pay your annual fees. So
Right.
you set your LLC up on December 31st, 2021, you have to pay that April 2022. So just something to keep in mind as far as, you know, if you're maybe in a short window of time between the new year, you may just want to wait until the new year so that you get more value for that fee.
Right. More bang for your buck.
Exactly. So any other
tips
that you want to share with us?
Yes, excuse me. I think I talked about training.
Mm-hmm.
Training. I cannot I guess I can't overemphasize how important that is. And not just in the beginning, continuous training is needed, because as you know, one of our documents just changed. The application has just changed, and knowing where to look for that and how to get that so that you don't have a defect. I mean, that's important. But I'm a huge proponent of professional development, because that keeps you on the cutting edge and you know what's coming down the pipe and you know how to prepare yourself, as opposed to getting a document and going like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this? Well, and sometimes that may happen, but at least you have your resources. One, you'll have a mentor that you can reach out to ask those questions. And if he or she doesn't know, then hopefully you'll have some notes for some professional developments that you may have taken. And even if that's not the case, your training that you originally had, they are going to be on it. So using them as a resource, reaching back out to them to say, hey, I've run into this block. I've kind of exhausted my resources here. Can you provide some help? And so that's why the training is so important from the beginning all throughout the process. It's a continuous, improvement kind of thing that should be done throughout the career of the notary signing agent.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely key. I mean, I think that's with most fields, you have to do some type of continuing education, some type of professional development, to keep abreast with new changes. And like you said, it sets you apart when you are on top of it.
Right. So let's see, what else? Oh, definitely know your docs. I keep going back to my mentor because she was fantastic. My mentor actually set me up with a dummy package. And so although it wasn't going to be exactly the same every time, at least I was able to get an idea of what a package contained so that I would go through that. My training that I used, I did the National Notary Association. They actually gave or provided us scripts to go by. And so believe you me, I looked at those documents, I looked at their scripts because I wanted to stay within my parameters. because that leads me to the unauthorized practice of law. We're in a very, we're in a position where we're right there at that line. And when we go to a borrower's home, they don't know who we are other than an individual that's coming to help them, with their refi or closing on their home. And they are expecting us to be able to give them information. And there is some information we can give them, but that's the key. We need to know what information we can give them and how much information that we can give them without crossing over the line of engaging in the unauthorized practice of law. And so that is something that we really want to keep in mind. And those scripts that like the National Notary Association provided are really key and really help me know how far to go when I'm describing, notice I said describing the documents, to the borrower, so that at least they will have an idea for that of what the document is about from there.
Absolutely. I cannot agree more. I remember a couple of videos ago, check that out. I totally emphasize how much that is stressed when you take paralegal studies. And,
Right.
Sidebar, Miss Dickens is in the paralegal program where she works also. So she was definitely a mentor to me. And I cannot stress that enough, and it's something, the training that I received, that is so instilled in me. And a lot of notaries who don't have that background may not be aware of that. So, this is definitely a gem of information that you guys want to take in, and definitely make sure that you find out what you can describe and what you can't describe.
Exactly. And then there are just some very general things like always being professional in our speech, in our dress. That doesn't mean, going up in Armani suit, but dressing professionally, looking the part. Having an ID badge also helps. I've actually had some borrowers to ask me if they could see some ID, and I don't want to give them my driver's license. They don't need to know where I live or my date of birth.
Right. Yeah.
But, just having something as simple going through, I think I did, I can't remember, it's VistaPrint or one of those little online deals where I had my badges made, and I keep one. I have one on a lanyard and I have one on my bag. So at any given point, they want to see, I flashed it. I am who I say I am. And it also shows my company, because a lot of the borrowers assume that we are, employed with the company that they're financing through. And so again, I let them know that I'm a contractor, but my company is XYZ, and that's also displayed on my badge as well.
Yeah.
So yes. And, and talking in terms of other equipment, having an expensive laptop or tablet to take with you. I've learned the hard way. I've learned that I take a flash drive with my file on it, because if there's a document that's incorrect or something like that, I'll have that, and I'll be able to pull it up and print it. Just yesterday, had an individual to ask me if there was another document in the package, because he thought there should have been 2 banks being paid off in his closing. And I said, well, let me check. So I was able to pull out my flash drive, put it into my laptop USB, and scroll through. No, sir, it's not there. And so, if he wanted to press it, I could have called the title company to say, hey, is there a document missing? But I know from my end that I did not miss a document. And so those are just things that I've kind of learned along the way through trial and error, that, it is certainly worth the investment for a smooth and seamless signing. Making sure we have extra pens, making sure we have a good, strong notary bag. There's nothing worse than having one and the straps pop, or something like that. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm the queen of Amazon. So, But those are just some of the things that I have found that have made, my tenure as a notary signing agent just really smooth and seamless. And I have been, I've really been enjoying it. I have been. I've met some really nice people with some really super nice pets. So
Yes, it is. It's a great industry. You get to meet a lot of really nice, really great people. So it's definitely enjoyable. Have
it
you
is.
encountered anything that's made it a challenge that you've had to overcome?
Yes, accepting all the signings. That takes some discipline because I am doing this part-time. As you said, I'm an administrator at a college and I also teach legal studies. So I have to make sure I balance my time. But when you hear that ding, it's just like,
The money ring,
so
the money ring.
right, it gets addictive. It really, really gets addictive. So I have to, make sure that I'm balanced, and I have to make sure that I take time for me, because I don't want to be tired for either job. I don't want to be brain dead, because then that leads to mistakes as well. Um, you do run into an assortment of personalities. I have to say, I've only had one individual that was a bit challenging, and that's saying a lot. That is saying a whole lot. I'll just leave it at that. But again, I remain professional. I am a big proponent of giving individual choices. So we can do this or we can do this. Those choices are yours. And so you hear a lot of notary signing agents say, you're taking charge of this because it's your signing. And there's a way to go about that. And in those challenging situations, that's when, unfortunately, you have to do that just a little bit more than you probably would in a normal setting. And so providing an individual with choices of what they can do and what you're able to do, and then just kind of sticking to that, especially in those very challenging situations. And always CYA, document, document, document. Cover it always,
Yes.
always, always. So even if that means in your app, writing your notes down, or coming back to the house and writing your notes, calling your title company or whoever your or signing agency to let them know this is what is happening. And don't be afraid to do that in the yard or right in the street. I mean, the quicker you do that, the sooner you do that, the better it will be for you in the event that something comes up down the line. But short of that, there were not a lot of challenges. Like I said, I had a really strong start with my mentor. I did the training program, and I'd been a notary since 1997. So that was, that was not a very difficult part of that. But the training, the notary, and her providing me with training materials really helped me kind of ease into this. And so I've done modifications, refi, just an assortment of things, reverse mortgages. Phew. That's the topic for another conversation.
That's a whole nother video. We're gonna have you come back, and we can do a whole video on reverse mortgage.
Right. But yeah, but I mean that, and I think that's pretty much it. It's been a very enjoyable and rewarding experience. I have really enjoyed being a notary signing agent.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming. You guys, she has shared some valuable information with us today. And I am just so thrilled and pleased and glad that you were able to come on board today. We certainly appreciate it. And I hope all of you guys benefit from these nuggets of information that have been shared in today's video. And will you come back? Will you come back and do another video with us on a
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
I like this is kind of like the chat and chew. So yes.
Yes, yes. We enjoy that so much. And
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
please, if you get nothing else from this video, go look for those free resources that are available to you.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
free, free, free.
So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit your notification bell so you won't